Welcome to Middle Math Academy, Long Division Level Number 1. This is part of our differentiated series where we have 5 levels of challenge for every topic. Let's get started. Our learning target today is I can find the quotient by using long division. This level number 1 lesson will focus only on long division, then we'll introduce dividing decimals in level number 2. Before we get started on some notes, rate how confident you feel on our learning target by circling from 1 to 5. 1 is the least confident and 5 is the most confident. At the end of the lesson, we'll rate ourselves again to see how confident we feel after getting some more practice. Let's begin with some vocabulary. Whenever we have a division expression like 20 divided by 2, the first number in our division expression will be our dividend. And whenever we're setting this up in our long division problem, the dividend or our first number is going to go inside the house. So go ahead and write that 20 inside the house and make sure you wrote the word dividend. Remember, you can always pause the video if you need more time. Our second vocabulary word is divisor. The divisor is the second number in a division expression, and it's saying how many times you're going to split up the dividend. So in this case, we're splitting up 20 into 2. And the divisor goes on the outside of the house. So go ahead and write that 2 in the gray box under your notes. And then our last vocab word is the quotient. The quotient is the answer to a division problem. And our quotient will always go on top of the house. So you can see 10 on top of 20. 10 is our answer. Let's get into our long division steps. An easy way to remember our steps are does McDonald's serve burgers? So the does stands for divide. That'll be our first step. And we'll get into the details of this more with our examples. For now, just make sure you're writing the notes. So we have divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Those are the 4 steps you'll do over and over again. And you'll just keep repeating them. Remember, you can pause if you need more time. Let's take a look at our examples at the bottom of the page. We're going to focus on A to start off. In problem A, we have 274 divided by 2. So our first number is our dividend, and that's going to go inside the house. So go ahead and write with me. Make sure you're putting one number on each blank inside the house. These first 2 are set up for you just to help you stay organized, but you won't always have this structure. So notice how we're keeping everything evenly spaced. And then the second number in our division expression, the 2, that's our divisor, and that goes on the outside of the house. Go ahead and pause the video for just a minute and just set up your problem for problem B. Okay, just the dividend and the divisor. For problem B, the dividend is 216. So you should have 216 inside the house, and the divisor is 3, so you should have 3 on the outside of the house. Okay, so your second number always goes on the outside, and then our answer is going to be on top of the house. We will come back to problem B in just a second. Let's practice finishing our long division steps. If you forget, remember, does McDonald's serve burgers? So the D stands for divide. That's our first step. And the way I like to think about this is we can ask ourselves, if I was a size 2, could I fit into a size 2? Yeah, could fit in 1 time. 2 fits into 2 1 time. So we're going to put a 1 directly above our dividend. We'll put a 1 directly above our dividend. Okay, so we did our first step, divide. Our next step is to multiply. We're going to multiply 2 times 1, which is 2. And we're going to write that answer right underneath our other 2. Make sure you're saying super organized. All right, so we multiplied. Now we're going to subtract. 2 minus 2 is 0. And then we're going to bring down. We're going to bring down our next number in our dividend, the 7. And then we're just going to repeat these steps again. How many times does 2 fit into 7? Well, 2, 4, 6. It fits in 3 times. So I'm going to write the 3 up here. That's our division step. 2 times 3 is 6. We're going to subtract. 7 minus 6 is 1. And then bring down our 4. 2 fits into 14 7 times, or you could think 14 divided by 2 is 7. 2 times 7 is 14, and 14 minus 14 is 0. So our answer here is 137. Your quotient is always on top of the house. Let's practice problem B. And then we'll go back and I'll show you how you can check your work. But let's just practice our steps for problem B. If you feel confident, you can go ahead and try this one on your own. If you want to stick with me and do another example, feel free. Let's practice those steps for problem B. Our first step is to divide. 2 divided by 3, or you could think to yourself, if I was a size 3, could I fit into a size 2? The answer is no, a 2 would be too small. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a 0 on top of our 2. 3 fits into 2 0 times. Okay, now we divided. Let's multiply. Remember, we multiply our divisor times our quotient. 3 times 0 is 0. Okay, so we multiply. Now we'll subtract. 2 minus 0 is 2. Make sure you have this down nice and lined up. Our next step is to bring down. We're going to bring down our dividend, the 1. And then this is our new number, 21. So we'll start at our first step, divide. 21 divided by 3 is 7. Multiply, 3 times 7 is 21. Subtract, 21 minus 21 is 0. Make sure you have this down. Now we're going to bring down our 6. 3 fits into 6 2 times. 3 times 2 is 6. Subtract, 6 minus 6 is 0. So once there's no numbers to bring down, and you ended with 0, then we can just stop. So our answer here is 72. To check our work, we're going to take our quotient. So in problem A, that was 137. And then we're going to take our divisor, 2, and we're going to multiply them. So 137 times 2, and that should give us our dividend, 274. So you can think about it like you're going to multiply the numbers on the outside of the house together. And if you get the answer as what's inside the house, then you're good. So let's go ahead and write that in. We have 137 times 2. Okay, and if I multiply that out, 2 times 7 is 14. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. And 2 times 1 is 2. Okay, so I did get 274. So we can just put a little check. We are correct. Go ahead and check your work for problem B, then come back to the video. For problem B, you should have done 72, our quotient, times our divisor, and you get 216, which is our dividend. So that lets us know that we're correct. Complete problem C on your own, then come back to the video to check your work. All right, as we check problem C, let's take it step by step. The first thing I want you to check is that you set up your dividend and divisor correctly. A good rule of thumb is to make sure that you have a pinky's worth of space between each number. Your numbers should not be touching. They should not be close together. You have to keep everything so lined up. The next step is 4 can't fit into 3. If you did 3 divided by 4, you would get a decimal. It fits in 0 times. 4 times 0 is 0. Subtract. 3 minus 0 is 3. And then we bring down the 4. 4 fits into 34 8 times. 4 times 8 is 32. Subtract, 34 minus 32 is 2. And we bring down the 4. Notice how neat everything is. 4 fits into 24 6 times. Subtract, bring down. And 4 fits into 8 2 times. 4 times 2 is 8. And then we end with 0. Then you could have checked your work by doing the quotient times the divisor, and that'll give you the dividend. Check in with your teacher, get their initials, and then come back to the video when you're ready for page 2. There are some notes at the top of page 2 to help you with an example. The thing about long division is everybody's on a different level. So the nice part about doing this with a video is you can really go at your own pace. If you need to go back and watch the notes, go ahead and do so. If you want to go a little faster, feel free to do that as well. What I would like you to do now is only complete problem A, get as far as you can, then come back to the video to check your work. First, check that you set it up correctly. If I was a size 2, I couldn't fit into a size 1, so 2 fits into 1 0 times. So here's the next step you should have had. 2 fits into 10 5 times. Here's the next step you should have had. Bring down our 7. 2 fits into 7 3 times. And 2 fits into 12 6 times. So your answer is 536. to check your work, you could do 536. Remember, it's the two numbers on the outside of our house. 536 times 2. And when you do that, you get 1,072, which is our dividend. So we can put a little check mark. Complete problem B, then come back to the video to check your work. Check your work for problem B, pause the video. Pause the video and complete the rest of page 2, then check in with your teacher to get more feedback. Let's take a look at page 3. Pause the video and complete only problem A, then come back to the video to check your work. Here's the first step for problem A. Make sure you have this down. The next step is 10 fits into 3 0 times. And then you should have brought down the 3. So the new number you're working with is 33. 10 fits into 33 3 times. Check each step of the way. And your answer is 335. Remember, if the 0 comes before the number, you don't have to include it. So 335, when we check our work, we can multiply it times 10, and we get 3,350. Boom. Complete problem B, then come back to the video to check your work. Check your work for problem B. Complete the rest of page 3, then check in with your teacher to get more feedback. On page 4, complete problems A and B, then come back to the video to check your work. Check your work for problem A. Check your work for problem B. Complete the rest of page 4, then check in with your teacher to get more feedback. On page 5, complete problems A and B. Pause the video, then come back to check your work. Check your work for problem A. Check your work for problem B. Complete the rest of page 5, then check in with your teacher to get additional feedback. Complete all of page 6. Once you finish, come back to the video to check your work. This video won't go over all of page 6, but we will go over our closing problem. Let's take a look. Check your work for our closing problem. And don't forget to answer our debrief questions. In your own words, what did you learn today? How much effort did you put in during class? Rate yourself 1 through 5. Explain. And what do you think is a common misconception a student might make when doing long division? Or what do you think a common mistake is students might make? Once you're finished page 6, you're going to go back to page 1. At the beginning of today's lesson, we rated ourselves 1 through 5 on our learning target. You're going to rate yourself after the lesson, now that we've gotten some more practice. Once you finish page 6 and rated yourself on page 1, check in with your teacher to get additional feedback. Thank you for joining us today at Middle Math Academy, where we practice long division level number 1. This is part of our differentiated series where we have 5 levels of challenge for every topic. If you're looking for any additional practice, make sure to check out levels 2, where we introduce decimals, level 3, level 4, or level 5. Thank you for joining us and have a wonderful day.